Well, welcome, everybody. It is incredible to see you all here, and I'm excited to welcome you to the summer conference, the summer orientation conference here at Yeshiva University. You are many important people in this room. Everyone in this room is super important, and we'll get a chance to meet everyone in just a few minutes. It's long. But I want to open it up. I want to ask Dr. Scott Goldberg, who's the director of the Institute for University School Partnership, which you guys are all familiar with. That houses the Jewish Educator Fellowships. Good morning, Mark Fine. And I asked him just to say a few brief introductory remarks.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. If your students on the first day of school were like that, you guys are in for trouble. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for dedicating yourselves, at least for the next year, in terms of the gift that you're about to give the Jewish community. And I really mean it. It's a true gift that you're giving them, an opportunity to have role models in schools for the children, something that's not so simple. And you know it's not so simple because we have a fellowship for it. We have all of these wonderful support systems in place and all of this wonderful grant money to be able to support the work that you're going to be doing. And had it been easy, we wouldn't need that. You are really serving an amazing purpose. You are going to do amazing things. I want to contrast, I was just mentioning before, to Shira, and that this weekend I spent as a scholar in residence in a community where almost exclusively I was speaking about issues about day school affordability. A component of the Institute, as you might know, is kind of like an internal McKinsey consulting firm, planning and performance improvement division that works diligently and works cooperatively with communities and with schools to try to make the work that you're going to be doing and the work of the teachers and the work of the leaders of schools efficient and affordable while maintaining quality. I want to contrast that kind of experience that I had this weekend where I was trying to be upbeat, trying to be positive, trying to share solutions to those issues and challenges, some strategies towards those challenges, but really was met with not only skepticism, but kind of like a gloom and doom, end of days kind of response, which is, really, almost something that you come to expect these days, despite the fact that it's misguided. And I want to contrast that how I felt this morning when I walked into this room and kind of saw the future of our people. You represent that, and you should know that, and you shouldn't be humble about it. You are the future, and you're going to be supporting the future, and you should know that when I walk into a room like this, rather than feeling the kind of the gloom and doom of the weekend, I very much feel the sense of hope for our people, and I really commend you for meeting that challenge and stepping forward. Sorry, this is my wife calling. I'll speak to her. She's also the hope and future for my people. I just want to share with you one quick word of Torah, as I think it's very important to recognize that you're not just in Teach for America, you're not just in a program of support in a graduate school of education anywhere. You are at Yeshiva University, and you are dedicating yourself to Jewish education. It's important always to be grounded in Torah in some perspective. This past weekend we read in the Parsha of a most remarkable event, an event that would change the course of Jewish history. Of course, that of Moshe hitting the rock. And what's remarkable about this event is that this entering the land of Israel is what Moshe lives for. That's what his entire life should end with. Yet, a simple event changes the course of history and makes it so that Moshe does not enter the land. So what is the problem here? Right, there are more than 25 different commentaries at least that describe all sorts of different reasons, hitting the rock versus talking to the rock. But what's remarkable is that the pasuk itself doesn't actually describe that as the sin. It says that you are not mekadesh me. That's what the pasuk says. The reason why Moshe is punished is because he did not sanctify God's name for the Jewish people. What's interesting is that Moshe, in hitting the rock, actually follows the procedure that was given back in Parshas Beshalach, as many of you know, in terms of hitting the rock then when Bnei Yisrael complained. So how can you blame Moshe Rabbeinu? Hitting the rock there, bringing forth water, that's not being Makadesh Shem Shemayim, that's not being Makadesh the Shem of Hashem. So the truth is that it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because Moshe Rabbeinu hitting the rock is representative of Moshe Rabbeinu as a leader of a people that grew up in servitude, grew up in oppression, and respond and live a life of Kiddush Hashem through force and through other types of behaviors that are associated, in fact, with the idea of oppression and force and the like. In contrast, the door of the Midbar, the door that received the Torah, is not a generation of force. It's a generation of dibur. It's a generation of learning. It's a generation of words. It's a generation that needed Moshe to understand that, yet Moshe didn't. And therefore, his not entering the land is more of a reality than a sin, that he was unable to really be able to lead a people that is quite different than what he had previously led. He was unable to recognize that change, unable to recognize that difference. And therefore, what we learn is that each generation not only requires its own leaders, which the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Daf Hey Amud Aleph, discusses in detail. Each generation has a challenge, and each generation's challenge is met with by leaders who Hashem gives each generation to meet those challenges. But also that each generation requires perhaps a different approach to the way in which we instruct them and the way in which we approach them. And before you have a year or 2 years to engage in that process of understanding this generation's needs and understanding what it is that would provide them entrance into the land, entrance into that next stage in their life. I think it's very important to recognize how that is truly being Mekadesh Shem Shemayim, and how you have in your hands that ability to move that next generation forward. I want to thank you again for agreeing to give your life to this cause, at least for the next several years, and encourage you to gain as much as possible out of it, so that you too can be Mekadesh Shem Shemayim along with your colleagues around the table and those who have dedicated their careers to Jewish education more globally. Welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much, Dr.